As someone who really enjoys Souls games, I will grab onto any excuse to go through the games again. I am by no means a challenge runner, at least just yet, but I do like to accomplish these little miscellaneous things that maybe not everyone manages, or does, or even knows of. By far, I have done only 2, because I'm still just starting, but the first one was no hit run on Sir Alon, for his unique death animation. And second, I managed just a few days ago, at least as of time of writing the script, and that was the parry loop strategy for Orphan of Cause. The deal is that he never goes into phase 2 because of it, and because his phase 1 does not have a death animation itself, the model just stands there and contemplates his life, staring off into the distance, waiting for death that never actually comes. To be fair, if I was the hardest boss in the game and I got killed before phase 2, I would too be contemplating my own life. I did think that the next miscellaneous task that will not contribute to anything, maybe except slight bragging rights, would be getting the Penetrator Armor exclusive to the Demon Souls Remake. Before we go deeper into this topic, allow me to welcome you to the video. I'm Akuma, this is RNG, and I hope you enjoy. I have seen quite a few people already have this set, especially in the Pantheon at the top of the Nexus. Nevertheless, I did think that this could be a fun video to make, that some of you might find interesting. As previously mentioned, the Penetrator set is solely exclusive to the remake, and in my book remains one of the most cryptic features in the series. As if the DLC entrances and questlines weren't enough. You may think, what's so hard about obtaining an armor set? Is it locked behind a paywall like boss sets in Dark Souls 2? Allow me to explain, dear viewer, in case you are not aware. You have to collect a total of 26 ceramic coins scattered throughout the world across 2 new game cycles. If you can find them depends on the world tendency, as 7 are found on pure white and 6 on pure black, so 13 per cycle. Another condition to find these is Fractured Mode, a feature unlocked via the statue in Nexus, at the cost of 25,000 souls, which mirrors your game to sort of refresh the experience for people way too familiar with the level layout. Once you collect all 26 of them, you can trade them with Sparkly the Crow in 4-1 for the Rusted Key. The key itself unlocks the area containing the armor set. Demon Souls is now considered one of the easiest in the series, but it definitely has the biggest difficulty spike when it comes into New Game Plus. And this requires you to run around an already difficult New Game Plus with pure black world tendency that boosts enemy attack, spawns black phantoms and decreases your HP in soul form, while actively making it harder for you to maneuver by memory in the Fractured Mode. I did only 2 playthroughs with my Platinum characters, so this is gonna be a nightmare. First part of the process is just a casual playthrough. By killing all 3 bosses, I should end up with all worlds in pure white world tendency, as long as I don't kill any NPCs. I don't have much footage from the entire sequence before beating Phalanx, as it's pretty trivial and uninteresting for the most part. Also, I forgot. I think the only stuff worth knowing is that I felt like delving a bit into the magic build option, so I chose Royalty as my starting class and picked the Providential Ring as my gift of choice. Coincidentally, on the Discord server I'm on, one player asked for help with co-op trophies, including the one for helping another player defeat a boss. I decided to abuse this request and head straight to the world for 1. I have this gent cleared away from me and face the Adjudicator. The poor bird brain seemed a bit confused by the number of targets, poor guy, but he had the spirit. While spamming soul arrows like this could be considered bullying, you can't deny the results. I had gained access to the best farming spot, but the avalanche of Taco Bell induced bullshit followed. Although, I didn't expect anything to go smoothly. I tried to kill the Grim Reaper with my soul arrow, only to realize this enemy has insane magic defense. I thought a bow was a much better idea, so I decided to leave it for later and clear my way through 1-2 and level up a bit instead. I picked up the compound shortbow, which was totally and absolutely my plan, and bolted straight to the boss. The Tower Knight looked down on me at first, but I proved that brains are more than brawn, and sniped him from distance, proving that I can continue being casual scum without getting good. Magic once again proved itself superior. I got the Flame Toss spell and returned to 4-2 to try farming, but the Flame Toss was useless when I still got 2-tapped by the Reaper. And I didn't have stats for the bow, unfortunately. I didn't come out empty-handed though, as I managed to go through this abomination of an area with the worst version of bone wheels, you know, without the wheels, and an cocktail of Red Bull, steroids and cocaine, and claim my prize of Enchanted Falchion +1. I didn't really like the moveset of the starting rapier, so this will be a more comfortable option. Next area was the Prison of Hope, aka 3-1. Exploring this area is still as pleasant as getting paper cuts in between your fingers. The Mind Flayers are annoying enemies, and it's really damn easy to get lost. At least if you're me. So getting towards the end is still a chore. But I could not only collect the Ring of Magical Sharpness, but I was also able to free this freaky guy for more spells. I did take proper care of the Fool's Idol and her Cult of Simps, and exchanged her soul with Freak for the Soul Ray spell. It replaced the Soul Arrow, keeping the Flame Toss in case I encounter any other magic-resistant enemies. Hopping once again into 4-2, this time more properly equipped and free to proceed. I got to Patches and triggered his 300 reenactment to progress. Once down the hole, I killed the Phantom in our way and spoke to Saint Urbane to make sure he travels back to the Nexus, so I have miracles available if necessary. I spoke to Patches again and returned to the Nexus myself, making sure he made his way there too. Having him there is super beneficial despite his heinous nature, as out of all the merchants, he sells the cheapest healing items. Next plan is clearing the entirety of World 2. I think I could be off much worse with my weapons and such, but Smithing Grounds wield some useful things I wouldn't mind accessing. From bag full of upgrade materials, Blacksmith Ed, Searing Demon Soul for advanced upgrades, Dragon Demon Soul to exchange for Firestorm later, and the Chris Blade, that will amplify the damage of my spells. It does also boost magical damage that I receive, so it's a trade-off. But it's pretty much the same as the Ring of Magical Sharpness. Now that we have a plan, let's get moving. It's as easy as that. In all honesty, I didn't expect magic to be such a cheat. I mean, I know it's baby easy mode in Dark Souls as well, but I haven't tried magic builds on my own in any of the games. I am very primal when it comes to builds. Monkey brain likes stick. Great swords are big metal stick. What's not to love that? But this is surprisingly fun. Now with an Archdemon Soul in hand, we can proceed to 1-3. If I remember well, there should be 2 Fed officials in the inner ward, and each drops items I want. First official dropped the Iron Key Ring, and second last piece of the official set, which is the cap. The rest of the fit is hard to miss, as it drops from the Fed officials in Stonefang, and they all block your way in a not too vague fashion. I go through the area until I'm able to open the gate, head back to unlock the door right in front of the Tower Knight boss room, tickle the fat official's tummy with my spell so hard he shits out a bloody key, make sure that Bjorn takes his daily nap, head back to the inner ward in now full official set to find Yuria, heroically save her from the ugly bastard of the story, and exhaust her dialogue. Oh, that was a mouthful, holy shit. Bear in mind that even if you have the bloody key, you still need to wear full official set to unlock stairs leading to her. But when you talk to her, you have to take the cap off so she doesn't mistake you for the fat official yourself, because then you can't progress her quest. Both Bjorn and Yuria will now be in the Nexus, and obviously I am not going to blue ball myself any longer and exchange the Dragon God's soul for the Firestorm spell. Following is the horrendous experience towering ahead, that is the Tower of Latria. Surprisingly, the exploration through the kiddie pool of blood and baby-faced bugs went fine enough. I stuffed my pockets with many consumable souls from the gargoyles and way too many upgrade materials I don't need. I did have to stop and research a bit the moment I found Yurt, asking me to free him from the cage. I wasn't sure if I needed that cage elevator or not, but I didn't want to free him. If you do so, this man kills one NPC in the Nexus per each boss defeated, and I didn't want to take even the slightest risk. After literal 10 seconds research, I found out his death won't affect the tendency at all, so I made sure he left the same way he came. Very silently. After killing the channeling dreadlings and breaking off the shackles of immortality for this disgusting piece of meat, I made sure to pick up the gold mask where the giant heart fell. I am now free to proceed to the boss. The excruciatingly long staircase guarded by a Black Phantom Mind Flayer. This game really gives me enough reasons to make sure to save in front of every fog gate just in case. I decided to try the Firestorm on Maneaters and... Wait, are you serious? Oh my god! Holy shit! The damage! This has almost no casting time, and the damage it does? That's insane. While the Maneaters burned faster than calories when I climbed the staircase to them, Old Monk kept monkeying around, so he got hit by only a few of the pillars if lucky. Also, if he was struck, he would get knocked back outside of the AoE. Still, it was an easy first try and Old Demon Soul in my pockets. I was thinking a lot whether I want to exchange it for a homing Soul Arrow or the Insanity Catalyst. While the Catalyst offers 20% magic boost, it halves your MP bar. I don't know if the spell would be worth it either, as it apparently has shorter range than the regular. And it's hard to say if the damage was worth it, even if it's 5 arrows at once when high enough level. In the end, I opted for the Insanity Catalyst. I kept my silver one just in case, and will be using it for now until I level up my intelligence stat. But you know, it might be useful sometime. The best choice I could have made at this point was killing the man behind this entire run, the Penetrator. Boss with ironically only one single thrust attack in his repertoire. Seriously, look how cool this armor looks. Definitely one of my favorite boss designs in the game. He might look intimidating, but with help of Bjorn as distraction, it was laughably easy to get rid of this Penetrator. With the third boss of Boletaria killed, we can now bask in the glory of another pure white world tendency. This gives us access to the Executioner grounds, where our last lootable colorless demon soul should be. There was one main issue though, and that's one NPC that's hostile by default, Executioner Miralda. Killing her decreases your tendency by 90, and I wanted to avoid that to keep the pure white. I wanted to pass by her to loot the item, but this happened. Yeah, she was rather eager to execute someone, including herself. I did loot the Coldless Demon Soul, return to Nexus, and check that my world tendency of Boletarian Palace was once again set to neutral. I read that sometimes when she dies of fall damage, it shouldn't affect you, but in my case it did. I could have killed the 2 dragons in the feeding grounds or on the bridge, as they would shift my tendency towards white, but I decided to take the lazy route and have a friend of mine invade me. This friend actually did try to also get the Penetrator set, and I would invade him here and there with my other character, where I have the red eye stone, to get him pure white worlds he needed. He is actually my walking talking cheese to get myself at least neutral in the endgame if necessary. As much as I hate PvP and play mostly with at least a password, if not completely offline, we decided to have a fist fight. Not gonna lie, these are my favorite thing. They are so stupidly fun, just 2 randos rolling and punching for a few minutes. I had a few of these with players who needed to form sunlight medals or shackles in Dark Souls 3, and it was always such a good time. My favorite moment is when we headbutt each other and both our characters get staggered by it. I swear to God, I just lost 5 levels in intelligence by doing that. To repent for the damage he caused, he also dropped me the Monk's head wrappings. We do have a Ring of Magical Sharpness, the Chris Blade plus 3 in offhand, the Monk's head wrappings, and the Insanity Catalyst. All of these are trade-off in stats, so yes, we are a glass cannon while facing enemies who do magic attacks, taking over a double in this state. But at the same time, we do nearly double the damage ourselves, and the only worlds we have remaining are Shrine of Storms and Valley of Defilement. The next boss is Old Hero, the towering ancient warrior from Legends, brought back to life by the Old One. Another one of my favorites. I love the design of this ancient warrior from times long before ours, and of course I love me some men with piercings, tattoos, and ear tunnels. Alright, let's see the damage we do against this big boy. Oh my god. Holy shit. We are a certified menace. No one is safe, not even the disabled. I know the Old Hero didn't see it coming for sure, but neither did I. Did you see the numbers? It shows us we did 7,128 damage. The Old Hero has 4,410 HP. That means we did over 60% more damage than what his HP is. The Firestorm is so insanely OP, especially with this build. Unfortunately, no flame can burn enough to scourge the Colossus roaming the sky, the Storm King. The beast and his brethren keep watch over the Monolith Forest, where lies the only weapon capable of bringing it to the ground, the Storm Ruler. The only way is to manifest a storm, stronger than one of the king. Or you can use soul arrows to shoot the little ones and soul ray on the king. Actually, even both are viable option. And if you're mad like the one and only JK leads, our knife in a shining armor, even throwing knives can work against them. For a late game Archdemon, Storm King has pretty low HP. After the boss was dead, I made sure to get the crystal lizards at the bottom level of the boss room for the Moonshade Stone shards, and upgraded my falchion to +5. Last world we have left is the one that always leaves me fuming, the Valley of Defilement. The Depraved Chasm is alright, it's not too long, the only issue here is the leech infestation. Obviously, as a good Samaritan that I am, I take it upon myself to take care of it. 23,000 damage. What a glorious sight. Proceeding through the Swamp of Sorrows makes sounding with barbed wire sound like a more pleasing experience. The amount of enemies and the slow traversal, all this shit combined here, make this my probably the least favorite swamp area. maybe the least favorite area in the entire series. People bitch on Farron Keep, but I would gladly have a picnic with few of the jumping grooves while ass deep into the poison swamp, as long as I can avoid the Swamp of Sorrows. I did not collect any items from the swamp, even though I think there might have been a ring that makes you traverse the swamp faster, but I just wanted to get to the boss. The Colossus was exceptionally dirty today, so I tried to burn off all that filth to clean him up. But he was not a fan of the spot treatment. Bit overdramatic, aren't we? Maiden Astraea and her buddy Garl Vinland wait right in the next room, and I think it's the perfect time to pay them a visit. I repeatedly parry Garl to put an end to his saga, which Maiden Astraea commit Sudoku as well, as a result, and that's what I've done. All Archstones are now grossly incandescent with pure white world tendency. I didn't face the False King yet, but since there is no coin in his area, my bean-sized brain thought it's the perfect time to farm the 25,000 souls in the ritual path and enter the fractured mode right away. First coin is located under a small table in one of the houses near where you find Ostrava for the first time. I didn't think that mirroring the game would do much to you, if you know the levels, but I swear to God my brain got scrambled. Change of plan. Now I think it's better to kill Alant first in the normal mode and collect all the remaining coins all at once. Few close calls later, Alant is defeated, and the only thing that remains is the true king hiding within the old one. Well, what I didn't realize is that it triggers Maiden in Black to move below the Nexus, and I won't be able to level up from that point on. Running around with over 180,000 souls made me kind of anxious. But I didn't have to worry about that for too long. Well, disabling leveling for myself aside, right now there really is nothing else to do but go geocaching. I did already mention where the first coin in 1-1 is. Second coin was in 1-3, hidden in a box by a ladder early in the area. Third was rather far into the level, past the Red-Eyed Knight by some archers and in a barrel right in the roof walkway. Fourth coin was in 2-2, hidden inside one of the shells sitting in the middle of the Molten Cave. Of course, I didn't forget to get lost on my way out of the Stonefang tunnel. Coin number 5 was in Prison of Hope, in one of the jail cells just beyond the soul mass blocking your way. I didn't know which one exactly, but it was found by breaking a chair. Considering there are just 7 of them on pure white, it was now that I had a change of heart yet again.
You never see it come
and started to shift the tendency towards black in worlds that I finished. You see, every world has some sort of event on pure white, spawning NPCs and unblocking paths for you to find and explore. Killing said NPCs would completely neutralize one's tendency, being worth so many points. Maybe it's karma? I don't know. The NPCs are Executioner Miralda for Boletarian Palace, Sivir the Wanderer for Stonefang Tunnel, you can unlock Lord Riddell's cell in Tower of Latria, Satsuki in Shrine of Storms, and Selen Vinland for Valley of Defilement. While still in Prison of Hope, I wanted to kill Riddell. But since I already saved him and reloaded the area, he was gone. Unfortunately, that meant we passed on the shift. I killed a noblewoman merchant too in hope of a penalty, but in her case you get slapped on the wrist and shift in character tendency instead. Not all hope is lost though, as I can still just die a bunch of times in body form later. This just would have been a preferred way to do so without wasting items. I then backtracked to 1-1. Even though Executioner Miralda was already dead, even if by suicide, we still had Mausoleum Key from Ostrava, and that would grant access to Old King Doran. Forgetting that Demon Brand is a magic weapon, and I take significantly more damage precisely from that, I got promptly evaporated in a single hit. Of course, on my way back to Doran, I got killed by the red-eyed spearman and thus lost all my souls. I couldn't be bothered to deal with these two, so I exchanged Leechmonger's soul for Poison Cloud, equipped my Thief Ring, and just played the waiting game. One Poison Cloud is enough to proc a poison, and gradually deals 900 damage. I had to proc it 3 times, because Doran is one chunky boy with over 2000 HP. Another corpse that I will add to the pile is Severe, waiting for someone to show him his Dragon Bone Smasher. To je takovej posraný eufemismus, ty vole. I didn't have a Bone Smasher on me, but I made sure that he can look good in my falchion instead. He seemed so impressed he even fainted. Or he died of shock or something. For the coin number 6, we will need a copper key. I already did so, but if you need a refresher, it can be looted off of corpse in the second tower with the skeleton archers. You know, the tower that totally isn't used to skip majority of the level. Yeah, that one. But be aware, there is a trap right in the center of it. Once the key is obtained, we head through the tunnel until we reach some sort of a jail cell where Blige sits imprisoned. I freed him already, so I could skip the process, but I thought I could include this. The 6th coin is hidden yet again in a box right in the left corner of his cell. Just one more. On my way back towards Archstone, I met Satsuki. He is another sword-obsessed dude, and while I personally agree that weapons are fascinating and undeniably cool, I thought his obsession with katanas would turn him into another toxic and violent neckbeard. I melee him to rest as a safety precaution and return to the Nexus. Not that I could use my levels to level up or anything, but I stock up on my soldier lotuses to counter the poison in Valley of Defilement. Following the wooden platforms beyond the first fog wall in 5-2, we stopped at the ones in stair-like formation, and dropped down the first one. Then again right behind it, and lo and behold, in yet another unassuming wooden box sits the last keramic coin of the pure white world tendency. On my way back, I make sure to stop by Celine of the West, sister of Garl of Vinland, who is looking for him to pass on the last words of their deceased father. I could bring her the crest or whatever to inform her that he is dead, but I don't think that telling an already grieving woman that I killed her brother in cold blood is a good idea. Instead, I make sure of 2 things. That she will be able to tell her brother on her own very soon, and that she is warm for the rest of her life. Okay, basic math time. To put it simply on like a graph, 0 is neutral, -90 is pure black, and 90 pure white. Dying in body form penalizes you off of 30 points. We have 3 worlds at neutral, 1 slightly inclined to white and 1 pure white. If my counting is correct, we might need 19 stones of ephemeral ice. If that is the case, I should have exactly enough for it. Right now, all I need to do is strip down and die the fastest way in each level, like explosions in 2-2, or just jumping off the cliff in 3-2 and 4-2. This is probably the only instance where not leveling up my vitality would be good. Because, in pursuit of great power, I neglected making sure I didn't die in 1 or 2 hits, and got only level 20 in vitality. Once pure black is achieved in all 5 worlds, it's time to gear up, collect all the remaining coins, and neutralize world tendency again. You see, all the NPCs that were accessed via pure white tendency event will now spawn as black phantoms worth 90 points towards white, from Miralda to Celine. Another event on pure black is the spawn of primeval demons, which is what I will go for. They are found out in the wild. They oppose little to no threat with their immobility and low HP, they shift tendency towards white by 75%, and they have a chance to drop colorless demon soul. That's currently my only way to get Curse Blade to +5. I still think it's ridiculous to cockblock people from weapon upgrades unless they are doing shitty things and just being assholes. You can get one more from Mephistopheles for her quest, but she is, again, a pure black, event. She doesn't spawn otherwise, and she sends you to kill NPCs, which is just ridiculous. First coin is rather simple. Go back from the Tower Knight Archstone and up the stairs where the drawbridge winch is. Break the table behind it to find a coin. Second coin is in 1-3, easily found by using the small staircase by the gate, and heading towards the area with 3 archers and Red-Eyed Knight guarding the archway. 2 Black Phantom Fed officials spawn around me as I want to pass, so I have to be extremely careful, because a single flame toss of theirs can kill me. After dealing with them and waiting for the Red-Eyed Knight to walk away, like an absolute hero that I am, I jump over the ledge onto a platform and right behind a corner. Breaking both of the barrels reveals the coin hiding inside. With both the coins in hand, I set on a journey to find a primeval demon that should be nearby. I didn't really have much trouble finding it, as it sticks out just as much as you would imagine giant, fleshy vermin demons sticking out. 1 firestorm later, and the demon is no more. I think he was already past his prime. Moving on to 2-1, we proceed through the smithing grounds as usual until we get to the fenced tower-like structure covered with scorching lizards. Following down the platform past them where few wolves are, sits a stash of wooden boxes hidden behind carts filled with coal. With, then... Mě už to nebaví, kurva. Protože neumím mluvit do píči. Prostě, vole, za to s uhlem dodej jenom. Which reward us with the third coin upon being broken. Já už tohle nahrávám asi po 4., vždycky se někde seknu a už mě to nebaví, takže je to na tobě, zlato. Ale já jestli budu muset, ty vole, ještě po 14. číst, že Aprolatria je prostě píčovina, tak už mi mrdne. Holounu tady u toho. Which reward us with the third coin upon being broken. The primeval demon here is probably the easiest to access. From the first archstone, head towards the building with 2 boulder-throwing enemies on top, and take the elevator to your left all the way down. The demon is just chilling on the rocky formation below it, with nowhere to run away. Tower of Latria was a nightmare as per usual, majorly because of the magic enemies that are the Mind Flayers, and the heavily amplified damage I take from them. I died few times on my way to the shooting range thanks to the singular Black Phantom Mind Flayer, so I eventually got close enough to lock on with the Thief Ring equipped and scorched it with 2 well-aimed flame tosses. Once at the Idol Ballista, we head through the entrance on the right side, guarded by yet another Black Phantom Mind Flayer, and pick up the coin at the end of the room once he is dead. For the demon, we have to visit Upper Latria, and take one of the cage elevators to the Bloodborne Swamp below. I can't really tell you the directions, as I ran around like the host of the nightmare most of the time. But eventually, after a few minutes of senseless running, I found the rocky platform where the primeval demon resided. Something like... I killed it. It was there. It's not anymore.
Counterpoint? You're dead. Ha!
This area overall is just a fucking nightmare, so I was happy to swiftly make my way away from there. As much as I expected Shrine of Storms to be dreadful, it was probably the most chill area. Grabbing my bow from the storage, I rushed to the ritual path to snipe the Reaper like I did many times before. Now the coin should be located in the area Patches sends you to sightsee and where you save Saint Urbane. This time though, we can make our way there via door instead of being kicked in the lumbar vertebrae. Simply look for a puddle containing a corpse, there is a box nearby, begging to be broken into. Next, we have to make our way around halfway through the staircase on the right side. there is an illusory wall, and most likely a message pointing it out. Kill the skeleton waiting right outside, and follow the narrow path by the cliffside on the right to find the demon. One soul ray right in the face was enough to kill it, and claim yet another, although now useless, colorless demon soul. Unlike the previous area, Valley of Defilement is just as I expected. In fact, it was even worse. But we are here for a coin, not death compilation. Looking for it is best done from the Dirty Colossus Archstone. After killing few enemies roaming outside, we find climbable platforms on our right, leading to an old dilapidated building. Shockingly, there is a wooden box containing the last coin of this run. It's always in some kind of a box, so you can just try bashing any if you can find a specific one, but it's always in a box or a barrel. To find the primeval demon, I backtracked through the level until I saw a clearing, where it said. I do believe this is the area where you find a platform leading to the snail nest when you can get the Moonlight Greatsword. This time though, the demon had ads, in form of an army of visceral, bloodthirsty monsters, aka 5 Abyss Mosquitoes, so I had to shoot them first before killing the demon itself. I was already fed up with this area, so I just let the snails kill me, just so I don't have to run back. You really can tell I don't like this area. What I forgot to mention in regard to these coins, obviously I didn't look for them for a long time on my own, I already knew where they were. I was using a guide myself from Frowny Gaming, who put together an amazing overview video for the Penetrator set. So, if my descriptions were shit and you want something more cohesive, I highly recommend you use this guide as well, and, you know, you can just go show him some love for his effort. There is one more method that could be done, but I haven't seen it confirmed anywhere. As I previously mentioned, on Pure Black, both Black Phantoms and Primeval Demons spawn, worth 75 and 90% or points when killed. I killed only one, as when you teleport, your area reloads and your world tendency does as well. So when I warped out of there, the Black Phantom Meralda wasn't there anymore because I already killed the Primeval Demon. There is still a possibility that if you haven't warped and made your way through the level instead, killing all the enemies without dying, again, Pure Black, you know, world tendency, and managing to kill both the Black Phantom and the Primeval Demon, you could probably stack them to shift your tendency from Pure Black straight to almost Pure White. I did think of this a lot, and I knew this would make up things much easier if possible, but in the end, I really wasn't willing to waste my time nor energy on more possible failures and roadblocks. But the option might be viable. Again, I didn't see it confirmed, and I don't think anyone has did it, and if they did, I have not seen it anywhere. But it's a thing. So, we finally did it. All the 13 coins are now in my storage, so now we can finally leave the fractured mode, and take care of the only remaining boss in the game, True King Aland. We proceed below the Nexus and into the lair of the Old One, facing the true form of the formerly celebrated and onerous king that led Boletaria to prosperity. For a slug, he is one of the most beefy bosses, so I needed to cast 2 firestorms to kill him. Sort of reminded me when I was a kid, when after raining, my dad would let me and my siblings just collect slugs in his garden, and we would get like either stick or the barbecue rod, and we would like poke them and then burn them on the bonfire. What good times. This is how we village kids had fun. I was thinking of which ending to choose, but in the end, my own frustration got the best of me, and I killed the Firekeeper, succumbing to the thirst for souls and becoming a new demon for the Old One. I mean, I think that's what it is. I haven't caught up with... I have not caught up on the Demon Souls lore. Don't shame me. I know Vati is there. I'm gonna check it out eventually, I promise. Well, this concludes our first playthrough. Honestly, Demon Souls will not be my favorite of the series. But I still enjoyed this playthrough. Like, this game is still fun. And so was this build. Like, I never tried magic, but this was hella fun. Also, it was kind of weird to actually put actual effort into some build instead of being like, oh, a big pokey, that's what I'm gonna use. Number go up and that's it. It was actually interesting to collect items and make myself the glass cannon that this build was. And you know, this still took some time, all the collecting and shifts. So, I already spent a lot of time with this game. But that doesn't mean that there is not more time to be spent, because we are only halfway done. We just finished our first playthrough. Now we have to do it all over again. So, as I said, phase 3 of this entire thing is to do it all over again. And trust me when I say I was making stupid fucking decisions from the very beginning. I thought that in New Game Plus, I would finally be able to level up, and I consumed any Demon Souls that I knew I won't need. Before, I realized that I still cannot level up. I still have to beat Phalanx for Maiden in Black to show up. I died multiple times, so I played as carefully as I possibly could, just so I don't lose my souls. I even made sure I uploaded my save to Cloud, just in case I die. To Phalanx! Imagine being this stressed over fucking Phalanx! So much anxiety because of this blob. Luckily, Phalanx is still just an extremely flammable slime clump, and I had fire options for my long range, so well-placed Firestorm behind a pillar took care of most of the ads, and I finished off by some flame tosses. Finally, I returned to the Nexus and level up. Obviously not after being forced to run up another few sets of fucking stairs just so I can skip whatever the Monumental said. Lady, you're repeating yourself, and I still don't care. I threw 10 levels into Vitality in hope it helps, and was free to go wherever I wanted. And unlike on the first playthrough, I didn't really have a plan now. Right now, I have everything I would have needed for my build. In the end, it didn't really matter. My build was done, and where I earned souls to level up wasn't important. All bosses needed to be dead. I did kill the old monk and the anti-vex mom dragon only, majorly for the spells, but in the end I needed to kill them all, because pure white world events did not trigger while the archdemons were alive. So I randomly ventured through the world, killing demons standing in my path, and I showed no honor in this run. I don't use glitches or skips on first playthroughs, and I didn't use them on New Game on this run either, but on New Game Plus, yeah, I don't care. I don't care at all. I used whatever was at my disposal. From intended skips to glitches and cheese methods, cloud saving as I traverse the levels just so I don't negate my progress. It was actually interesting to see how many glitches and cheeses went unpatched for the remake. But I suppose that since Bluepoint even kept like old hitboxes and the jank, yeah, it makes sense they would keep the glitches and all this stuff that players are familiar with. And yeah, think of me however you want. Even though it happens rarely, I value my time when it comes to certain things. And repeating runbacks for Tower Knight who thoroughly enjoyed fucking me over wasn't worth it. And I probably would take much longer with this run than I did. I have made more cloud saves during this New Game Plus cycle alone than during all my 5 years of gaming altogether. Really, just to be sure. I already said it and I'll say it again. New Game Plus in Demon Souls is hard. Absolutely awful, in fact. And I got that confirmed from everyone I talked with about it in the past. Yes, I have a strong build, but at the start, I had to have everything equipped in order to one-shot even the basic Bolitarian soldiers. And as much as I hate complaining about this in a goddamn Souls game, which are notoriously known for their difficulty, the New Game Plus cycle really steps over the line of challenge and dives headfirst into the territory of unfairness. That being said, some areas felt more welcoming than others, and the majority of bosses was still very much a warm breeze compared to my Firestorm. It still dominated the battlefield, and now with homing arrows in hand, bosses felt like breathers I needed in between the areas. Well, for the most part. Yeah, thank you very much, buddy. Thank you so much. Funny. Coins themselves were easy feat, as I still remember the places or check the script. Only issue came in 2-2 on pure white, because the coin just didn't spawn. Trust me when I say that the panic started to set in. Originally I thought it's because I'm offline, so I went online again, but it didn't help. I saved and exited. I killed myself. I returned to the Nexus. I exited and re-entered the fractured mode, but nothing helped. Miraculously, I tried the next morning without killing the mobs, and the coin was there. I have no idea what was different this time, but I was just so happy I didn't have to go to New Game Plus Plus for the last single coin. You know, you don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Also, because some horses have very scary mouths. I have died many times, as on New Game Plus, with both world and character tendencies on pure black, my health could be compared to that of a Victorian child during the plague. But after many deaths, many close calls, innocent lives ruined and boxes broken into, I was getting closer to my goal. Finally, the last coin of pure black waited for me in the house in 5-2. With it in my grasp, I could finally pick up the rest and head to Sparkle the Crow, so... Oh, you're a thing! Alright, let's fight it out, I guess. It can be that... Okay, buddy, okay. Excuse me, running through. Good afternoon, sir. Passing through. And there. Ow! Okay, I probably deserve that one. Perfect. With Satsuki out of the way, it's an easy way to spark... Okay, you fucking stop. I finally make my way to Sparkly the Crow and drop him all 26 coins. He gives me a rusted key in exchange for that, and with the key in hand, I make my way to 1-3, running as fast as my barely upgraded stamina bar allows me. I make my way to an illusory wall in the same area you head through when saving Yuria, bloody key and all. I unlock the door, and there it is. Yes! After all this time, dozens of hours, plus AFKing, after all the hair falling out, nerves and brain cells dead, all that blood, sweat, tears, and piss, I can safely say this was an absolute waste of time. I mean, not completely. Don't get me wrong, it's an absolutely gorgeous armor set, one of my favorites in the series hands down. And as a defense, it's decent. But that's about it. This armor is almost the same in stats as other heavy armors in the game. But on top of that, Penetrator armor is so heavy even in its description. You know, the armor description itself states that it's so heavy it decreases your stamina recovery. There is no way that I could ever put this set to use on my current character. I did even go back to the Dragon Feeding Grounds to pick up the Ring of Great Strength, and even with that I am still above 50%. Yeah, it's fair to mention that I am only level 15 in Endurance, as I didn't need stamina to cast magic. But I do imagine that if you want some strength weapon with that armor, it would be rather demanding. Overall, I don't really like wasting a ring slot for equip burden when there are only 2 available ring slots already. So yeah, for me, this armor isn't worth it for now. After this journey, I might want to take a break from Demon Souls, but I would love to do a run where I cosplay the Penetrator, armor, sword, and the cursed weapon together. The issue is, you can't drop the set. I tried dropping it to my friend, who would then drop it to my new character as a blue phantom. That doesn't work. And the drop rate is disabled. It's like a key items. Overall, getting this armor still grants some bragging rights and some top tier fashion. And sometimes that's all that matters. Getting it the legit way at least. Which brings me to the last point of the video. I mentioned my friend Mui before, who helped me with invasions when I needed. He also got his set, so now we are twinning. The thing is, he got the armor through different means. He collected all the coins in the new game, plus 1 or 2 from New Game Plus, if I'm not mistaken. But instead of bashing his head against the wall, he asked me for help with duping the items. You can already abuse Blue Phantom friends to dupe you items, but if you, as Red Phantom, drop the coins by Sparkly the Crow and leave, the host can still pick them up. The game probably recognizes that someone wants to trade them, so they don't break upon being dropped. Well, host gets them as long as you drop less than 26, because then Sparkly exchanges them for a key. Which would still work if you're only after the armor, I assume. I still have the coins on my other character, but I never use them. Yeah, I am that kind of masochist. I will rather obtain all the desired stuff by legit means, even if it means horrendous experience. But if you don't want to do that, this option exists for you. Maybe we will try that for the aforementioned new character I made. Well, this was already a much longer video than I have expected, and I think it's about time we wrap it up. It was fun, at least during the new game, and for the rest, well, it was an experience, that's for sure. Bear in mind, this wasn't a guide, this was just something I wanted to do and I thought it would be cool as an idea for a video. So, if you actually want the guy for Penetrator set, I mentioned the guy I was following, there is many others. And yeah, I think this is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed my suffering, because I know people do like that, so I hope that's the case. And I hope you have a lovely day. If you want to see more of our content and maybe another Souls games and videos related to them in the future, you can, like, you know, subscribe or something. You know, like, it's there, you will get a notif when that happens, and I definitely do plan on making some in the future, so yeah. Until next time, and this was Relatively Normal Game Show.